that the weather has gone from 90 to 55 like it just saw a state trooper?
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate, oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week we're going to talk about a new Spider-Man suit, Mike.
All right, bring it on.
It looks fantastic. A lot of potential Phase 4 Marvel movies are coming to light. We're going to speculate on what these are going to be.
16 of them a year, Chris. 16 of them a year.
Only 16?
They're going to double up in the summer, twice a month.
Only if Netflix starts making them. Also, we're going to talk about how James Gunn is a huge win for DC, in case people hadn't heard about this yet.
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah, well,
welcome back. Yeah, welcome back, Mike.
I was gone for a little bit. I was I ran back as soon as I heard the sultry voice of my replacement. So special thanks out there to Mitch Buckley for filling in for me while I was gone. Mm-hmm. But you know, I feel like when you have an awesome accent like that, you're almost got like a cheat mode on. You know, you just turned on God mode for podcasting because you're just automatically more interesting than I am. Especially to an American audience. I suppose if he was starting a podcast in Australia, he would sound just like everybody else down there. But over here in the States, where we distribute the podcast, he just sounds like this illustrious like peacock, like strutting his feathers around the show notes. I don't know how I feel about that.
Could you find an animal like maybe more native to Australia, like, you know, an illustrious kangaroo or a wallaby?
You know what? While I was gone, I didn't really grow up in a small town. I did go back home to visit. That's why I was gone. But you know, it's a modest sized city that I grew up in, and the next town over has a zoo in it, a zoo that I haven't been to since I was a kid. And I remember the zoo being large because I was small. But then as I grew up, I was like, oh, that's just a little tiny little bitty baby zoo. But I went back there with my family, and I was like, they actually did some pretty good renovations, added some really large animals, actually. So if you're ever in South Bend, Indiana, go check out the Potawatomi Zoo, where you can see kangaroos.
The what?
Potawatomi. It is.
Is that one of the animals at the zoo? The hippopotamatomy?
Chris, I'll stop you now. You do not want to make fun of that name because that is a Native American tribe.
Oh. Well, I'm not making fun of it. I just, it sounds like an animal, like that would be there.
It is a crazy name, but I mean, the zoo was. I mean, to sound like a really outdated old person trying to sound like a millennial, the zoo was tight, yo. I mean, we saw like they were like awake tigers. I feel like every time I go to any zoo, all of the big cats are just sleeping in the middle of the day. And they're like these tigers running around, jumping on the glass, just like trying to eat kids through it. It was great. The kangaroos were bouncing around. And I feel like since it's not really like in a giant metropolis, like I could have like reached over a fence and like touched one of these kangaroos. But I was like, I don't know what kangaroos do. I don't know if they bite. I don't know if they're going to punch me in the face, turn around, whip me with the tail. So I kept my distance. But it was a pretty sweet zoo. I had a pretty good time. Ultimately ended up going to a friend's wedding, but it was a good week. I'm glad to be back, man.
Well, we're glad to have you back. I think the most important thing here is you had a lot of airtime flying back and forth.
Yes, I did.
And you got to watch a lot of things on the airplane, and I think we're going to talk about some of those later. Mm-hmm. But I think the thing that made my week really complete this week, Mike, is your live tweet reactions to finally watching Teen Titans Go to the movies last night.
Yes, you'll need to amend that a little bit. It wasn't so much a live tweet as I was just texting the group chat, because I knew I would have a captive audience. Because, you know, when you throw stuff out into Twitter, it's just going into a void. But I know if I send it to a group chat, you guys can't avoid it. And whether or not you reply or not, I know you're seeing it.
I'm watching it, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So
I just want to preface this. I've been trying to convince Mike to watch this movie since it came out this summer because, as we know from my earlier reactions, me and my wife love it. We cannot wait to own this movie. Mike has been hesitant, but you finally got to watch it last night. What'd you think?
Yeah, well, this movie just came out digitally. So it's out there for everybody to love and enjoy. And man, this movie is hilarious. It is great. I think the best kind of comparison you can lend it to is possibly like Lego Batman, because you got a little bit of the satire in there also, but this just cranks it up to the next level. It like goes 3 levels of meta. It's kind of like if you put Lego Batman and Deadpool in a blender and then crank it out and use that as ink for an inkjet printer while you print the cells for the movie. Man, it's just so much fun. Like the voice cast is exactly how I remember them from the kind of the quote-unquote classic Teen Titans series that got canceled. Obviously, it's the same as Teen Titans Go, but I've never seen that, and I believe you haven't seen that either, right, before you saw this movie?
That is correct.
So my only experience with kind of like the smaller, more wackier characters was this movie, and I thought they introduced them great. Like right off the bat, you learn that they're just a bunch of knuckleheads that don't really know what they're doing, and that super catchy Teen Titans theme song is right at the beginning, which I only knew about because I came across it like randomly on Instagram over the summer when the movie came out. So I was like, oh man, I was looking forward to that catchy song. There's actually a couple songs in this movie that are actually really funny. I think my favorite one is Robin's song where he wants his own movie, and then it's actually really high quality like animation, like frame by frame. And oh man, there's this another moment in the movie too. Like I'm doing my best not to spoil it, but it was just like so much fun. There's this kind of like Lion King homage to it. That's kind of
so. My wife laughed so hard she cried at that moment in the movie, and that's when we knew it was going to be a good movie, Mike.
And like the great part about it is, even though this movie is PG and it's translating characters from like Cartoon Network to the big screen, they do get away with more things in this than they could on TV, and that's like jokes. Where they kind of take the extra step. One of like the funniest one-liners in the movie is like, what is it? I think his dad's a cop.
I think his dad's a cop is my favorite line in the whole movie.
So this is how I'll sell the movie to anybody that's just not sure about the humor and stuff. So during one of their Ravenous songs, Michael Bolton voices a tiger, and I believe he's playing like a keytar or maybe an electric guitar.
He's playing he's got a whole song in the movie. You got a Michael Bolton song plucked in the middle of this movie.
Yeah, and at the very end of the song, it's capped off by the Teen Titans running the tiger over. And you would think in a kids movie, or definitely in television, they would at least allude to the fact that he's still alive. You know, like maybe a hand would go up and it would shake while he's laying on the ground. But no, he is motionless, not moving. And then Cyborg goes, oh no, I think his dad's a cop. And then they leave the scene of the crime, and then the scene ends. As far as the audience knows, this Michael Bolton tiger is dead on the road in this PG movie. So I just love how they just glaze right over that stuff. It's hilarious. Yeah, you got to go watch this movie. Run to see this movie. It is just so funny. It's hilarious. All the parodies there. They make references to all kinds of universes. Oh man, it's so great. I had such a great time.
If you're a comic book or DC fan, the references are very thorough. The Challengers of the Unknown is a running gag, and if you don't know who those are, that's a deep cut DC reference.
And that's kind of the point. You're not really supposed to know what they are.
And the point is, everyone is getting a movie but the Teen Titans, and then that's the premise. But I mean, for an 11-minute show, like I watched the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie, Mike, and knowing an 11-minute show can't carry an hour and a half to 2 hours is usually a concern, and this one I think thoroughly did. It did not feel like a whole length movie. It was great. There's so many things in it, and I hope this gets a sequel. I really do. I don't know if it will, but I hope it does.
Yeah, I would hope they find a way to almost reinvent it. I don't think they can. I mean, it's crazy because this movie doesn't really have like a formula. You know, it kind of bounces all around. Has very kind of like the acts are unpredictable, even though the plot might be kind of simple and you really know where it's going. I mean, like the villain shares a very close name with another character in the movie, so I assume that was supposed to be known ahead of time.
The villain, it is. I mean, I think that's in the trailer actually. But the villain is actually voiced by Will Arnett, who is Lego Batman as well. So I think it's funny, and then just to get Nicolas Cage as Superman, you know, it's. It's hilarious. I think Jimmy Kimmel was actually Batman as well. Like they got a lot of bigger names to do the smaller characters.
Yeah. I looked up on Box Office Mojo since the movie had kind of run its cycle. It only had about a $10 million budget, and I would assume it can't have cost that much more to advertise it. So it made its money back and made a profit. I think its worldwide was around like 40 million. So it is a very small return, but it's like 2x on the investment. So I think there is a chance that there could be another one in there. Because it made money. Maybe they're kind of taking the Blumhouse approach. Keep the budget low, and if you get lucky enough, maybe you'll strike gold at the box office, and you'll just reap in the rewards.
Yeah, it's just it's so good. I cannot wait for this to like come out on physical for me. I just got to pick it up, Mike. So I'm glad. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you're in on it, because like I know we sometimes differ on movies, and this was a risky watch if you're not a fan of the show, and especially if you're a fan of the older Teen Titans show. So
it's just right up my alley. I mean, we don't have kids, but like when we do someday, I'm starting to create a mental log of movies I want to show them. This is going to be on there along with the Paddington movies, because that's right. I watched the first Paddington movie. I believe the last Paddington update I gave this podcast was I saw the second one, but I saw the first one, and it is delightful as well. So go watch those Paddington movies with your kids, and then Teen Titans Go. But just before the movie ends, depending on how old your kids are, turn it off.
Okay.
And I won't tell you why, because it's too funny.
Well, either way, Paddington 2 I think still holds 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I still think that's really awesome for it to be one. I think the only movie to do that so far.
Dang straight.
You also got to watch Spider-Man 3, and I don't know who in their right mind would sit down and willingly watch Spider-Man 3 on the week of Venom. I don't know if you were trying to just maybe set the bar really, really low before you watch into Venom or what. So tell me about why you watched Spider-Man 3.
Well, I do have to say I apologize for front-loading the podcast a little bit, but I've been gone for a week. But this was an interesting experience just because I realized it has been very, very long time since I've seen this movie. So all of these moments in the film that are kind of infamous now, like the crazy jazz dancing, the goofy emo hair,
the memes,
all the memes, like it's just been so long. I just like, it can't be as bad as I remember it. It's got to just be inflated in my head. No, Chris, it is exactly as bad as I remember it. Like you're just watching this movie. Because this was like that classic scenario where, I'm back at home visiting my parents and it's just casually on TV. So you just kind of like roll right into the movie without ever making the decision to watch it. So, and, it starts off just like kind of any Sam Raimi joint. You got the similar look and feel and characters. And then it just goes bananas with these weird dance numbers and emo Tobey Maguire, and it's almost like he was trying to tank his own movie. It's just crazy and ridiculous, but I just wanted to remind everybody out there that the memes still hold true. The movie is silly as hell.
Yeah, it is. I think it was back in 2010 or maybe a little after. There was a fan edit of this movie where someone went through and took out like a lot of the bad parts and got it down to like an hour and a half or so. And it's actually really, really tolerable at that point. That's the one I prefer to watch if I have to. But sometimes we're not given that luxury. So I'm glad you gotta do that. Anything else before we jump into the news, Mike? Because I think this is a good segue into our first topic of the week.
Well, I'm gonna run right over that segue. And so one more thing that I have to say.
Okay,
my wife did the coolest. The coolest thing last night that I wanted to share with our audience, that she was sweet enough to volunteer her time to work at this event at Warner Brothers, and it was the F Cancer Gala. I'll keep it a little PG-13 on the podcast here at the very beginning, but F you, and then the one of those little banners is turned to the side to make the last two letters, but F Cancer Gala.
Yep.
And so she volunteered her time to check people in. And us here, the Royers, we're not an illustrious type. I've never had a practical use for the word gala in my entire life until this weekend. I didn't get to go. She got to go because she was the one volunteering her time and helping out. And she had to dress really nicely, wear all black, because she was checking in celebrities like the whole night, like top tier people, like donating tons of money to like cancer research. So this is one of like those fancy like celebrity galas that like you always hear about and see about in movies, and she was just the one at the front doors like checking these people in. She got to see Constance Wu, who is from Fresh Off the Boat, and that new movie Crazy Rich Asians. So like that's really cool. We really like her. She got to check in Chloe Bennett from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Olivia Munn was there, who's recently in Predator, and I think everybody knows her from back in the day from G4. So there's tons of other people there. She got the photo bomb in the photo booth. The guy who plays Ralph Dibny from The Flash, Elongation Man. I don't even know what his name is in the show because they just all call him Dibny. So she just had a great time. She actually it was really nice because they let the people that were volunteering helping the event out like enter like the raffles and stuff. So she won like this really cool kind of like raffle basket that had like 3 Legends of Tomorrow pop finals in it. Ooh. So and then a bunch of like Riverdale shirts and stuff because this was all under like the Berlanti umbrella still. So a lot of that stuff that she got had like signed posters from like Black Lightning and stuff. So it was like a really crazy event, and she had a great time. She came home and just dished all about it to me. So yeah, it was really cool. She said like a lot of these like really famous people, you know, are really nice, and some of them weren't. And I won't say who it was, but I did just mention them a couple minutes ago in that lineup. So one of those people were really rude to my wife.
Well, is there any way that she got any of them on video saying, "Listen to Superhero Slate for us"?
Oh my gosh! I mean,
now I'm disappointed. Right? Now I'm disappointed. No, that's really cool. I mean, I know you guys. I mean, living in LA, you guys have a lot of great opportunities, and you know, just volunteering your time and getting around to be that. Like that's awesome for her and both of you guys to do that.
She had to move a lot of things around just in order to do this, but it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was cool.
I was great.
I was super jealous because obviously just like many boys and men out there who have huge crushes on Olivia Munn, you know, I follow her on Instagram and I was like looking at her Instagram stories like, oh my God, she's there right now. That I had to text my wife. I was just like, she's there. And she's like, oh yeah, I just checked her in. And I was just like, ah.
Well, next time, I mean, thankfully, I mean, knowing your wife's name is very androgynous, you could totally take her place at the next thing that she signs up for.
I like the way you think, Chris.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just the way. I mean, make the best of a great situation. That's what I'm saying. But that's really cool. So next time we'll just have to get her to, you know, have them say, "Hey, listen to Superhero Slate podcast from these celebrities," and I think we'll grow our numbers here.
You know, it is just a podcast, so we could just find voice alikes and just tell people that's who it is. Yeah. We'll just go on.
Is this a Fiverr thing? Is this
yeah. I was going to say, go on Fiverr, find someone that does impressions. Just like any voice you got.
Yeah. Can we get Danny DeVito or maybe his ex-wife Rhea Perlman? Can we get her to?
You know what? I like this idea. Well, let's start this one.
Yeah, we'll work it out after the show. But now for the meat of the show, I think the thing everyone's been waiting for, Mike. You finally got to see Venom. Yes. And you watched it yesterday. We have not recorded our review episode yet, but we are going to right after this. Mm-hmm. If you've listened to last week's show, everyone probably knows my feelings on that. Mike, we don't know yours. Drop it on us like it's hot.
All right, here you go. Venom, it is not a good movie. I went in with such low expectations. I just figured that would be the best way to go into it because this was a movie that we really didn't think needed to be made, but then they cast Tom Hardy, so we got a little bit more excited, and then the first trailer came out and we didn't get to see any Venom at all, and then we were bummed, and then the next trailer came out and we got to see Venom in full force, looked exactly how he was supposed to look, and we were all hyped again, and then we started to hear weird things about Tom Hardy saying like 40 minutes of the movie was cut and those were his favorite parts, so I just didn't know what to think going into it. And honestly, it was a little bit of a mess to me. I mean, it's weird. It's the first time in a while I've seen a movie I haven't liked, but actually had some kind of glimmers of hope in it, which I can probably get into a little bit more in the spoiler cast. But I really liked the relationship between like Eddie Brock and Venom. Like their back and forth was funny, and it was the best parts of the movie. I just wish they were in a completely, totally different movie, and possibly maybe reinvent the Eddie Brock character a little bit, because if Tom Hardy wants to take that kind of almost wacky, goofy direction, which is totally fine, just don't make him a journalist, because it does not fit the career, it does not fit the path or what you need in order to be a successful journalist. So yeah, I think there could be some like retooling there, but yeah, I mean, the villain, totally forgettable, like cliche motivations. You got a love interest that basically is kind of like a lesser Pepper Potts type of role throughout the movie. We'll talk all about like the rating between PG-13 and rated R, but whether this was intentionally supposed to be PG-13, at one point maybe in the draft it was rated R, but they make reference to doing some pretty brutal things in the movie that you never get to see, which just kind of leaves you with blue balls, I guess to say. So yeah, I don't really know what you do with Venom after this. Maybe you kind of Hulkify him to where you don't get any more Venom movies and Venom just shows up in your movie, and then you don't have to worry about all of his crazy backstory. Maybe if you make a sequel, just get a crazy visionary director like Quentin Tarantino, go as weird as like Wes Anderson. I don't know, you just got to inject some sort of weirdness into it, because that's kind of how this Venom character now is. So yeah, I mean, it's never good when I'm in a movie theater and I'm get so bored in a scene that I just literally look over and look at the carpet, just trying to see like, oh, what's the carpet pattern look like? Oh, that's some kind of neat LED running lights. And like, oh yeah, I'm in a movie. That's right. Let's look back up and see if this scene's over yet. So yeah, it was a mess, but oddly glimmers of hope. The first time you get to see like Venom in full Venom, I was like literally in awe. I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. And then it lasts for like 3 seconds and then you're to some dumb exposition. But yeah, that's how I feel about Venom. I'm looking forward to jumping into more after we're done here. But yeah, Chris, what did you think? Hit it with me real quick, because I think I kind of forget what you said.
No, I mean, I don't hate this movie and I don't love it. I think it falls right in the middle of it's just a movie, and I'm probably less I'm less against it than you are, it sounds like. But I mean, there are things that could have been done. I think after hindsight, having a week to sit on this, this movie goes from like the first 30 minutes are pretty dry. Like that's like the worst part to me is the first 30 minutes. And then instantly it's in Act 3. I think if they did cut anything, it's Act 2, because it's like, hey, I got a thing, and then like, oh, all right, I wanna do all the stuff that Venom does on a normal day basis in the comic books now. It just went from cruising at 30 all the way up to 90 within like a scene or two. But I still think about the movie, and I didn't feel bored in it at all. Like you said, I didn't find myself looking around. It actually went pretty quick. But I mean, you also heard about my theater experience, right? Like the guy beside me who was well over twice my weight and smelled like a damp sock has been sitting in a hot car for like 4 or 5 days.
No!
Every time he moved, the smell hit my nose, and I had to hold my hand over my nose for the whole movie. So that was probably, in comparison to the crowd I was with, the movie was really pretty good.
So the movie to you was like an escape. You're just like, I got to concentrate on this to get away.
I can't look away. I can't move my face. If he moves, I'm gonna smell it again. I gotta sit and focus.
Oh my God. You know how stressful it was just buying the tickets digitally, like on my phone on Saturday morning. Like I tapped this seat, and I was like, oh no. What if I just picked a seat next to somebody that's awful? So then I pick a seat on the other side, and I was like, oh no, what if this person's awful? Yeah. So then I'm just going through the psychology of an awful person and how they pick their seat in a theater, and like, oh man, it's just too stressful out there.
And then we've already psyched ourselves out of picking the seat. So I just, like I said, I just think the Venom crowd. I used this reference last week. Everyone in there had a copy of the Crow in their house somewhere. Like they have a VHS or DVD copy of the Crow. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind it nearly as much as you do. And when we get to talk spoilers, there are some things I'm going to pick apart. But overall, I kind of want to see it again, just to maybe not have the exterior factors bothering me, to just take it all in. But yeah,
this is going to be a great clip on YouTube. Just cut out all of the random stuff, and you'll probably get about a good solid 20 minutes of Venom, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Like I said, it's better than anything Fox has put out in a very long time, minus Deadpool. And the same with actually anything Sony put out before this. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about it. But I mean, the thing that most people think of when they think of Venom, Mike, is in fact Spider-Man.
That's right.
And we got some Far From Home stuff here. And I saw these pictures earlier this week, and I was like, I don't know if Mike wants to see this or not. I was very thoughtful of what Mike would think if he got to see these leaked set photos, which are out in the middle of New York, so obviously people are taking pictures of this.
Yeah, I almost feel like if the production doesn't mind if just a random public sees them, I feel like I'm safe.
Yeah, and again, much like we've learned, with Civil War and other Marvel movies, they put a lot of effects on the ends of these. So by the end, like what we see may not look good in person, may look baggy or saggy and not as tight, but like the final product will in fact look beautiful, Mike. So, but what we're going to see here is actually a Spider-Man with black undertones and a red suit. And if you notice, I'm looking here on this link here to Twitter. His web shooters look very, very metallic, built into his little things there. I don't know if they'll digitally add those later, if that's like a CGI tag, but they look very much built into the suit rather than grasping onto his wrist.
This kind of keys into, I think, a little bit what you guys talked about last week, where I think there was a screenshot where you may have seen like a SHIELD logo on one of the other darker suits. So I think this is almost kind of tying in a little bit to the mythos of Miles Morales, where that character gets his suit from SHIELD. And also, the colors of this suit kind of are a little Miles-esque. I mean, the pattern's totally different. It's more classic Spider-Man, but it is black and red. I mean, there's no blue on this suit at all. So it makes me think, I don't really know where Tony is supposed to be in this movie. I like in the universe in general. Is he still on like Titan? Is he like going around space with the Guardians of the Galaxy? I don't really know what's in the future for Tony Stark of the MCU, but if he's like not around to just like whip up suits, like the next kind of logical organization would be SHIELD, and especially if you throw Spider-Woman in the mix, you could kind of get some cool stuff going on there. So yeah, I feel like maybe he could be kind of almost like an agent of SHIELD here. And also, he's like a kid. He's impressionable, so I could kind of see him bending to law enforcement a little bit to maybe go on missions. That'll be like a fun dynamic. But yeah, I guess that's kind of like the biggest question when I see a new suit of any character is like, where did they get it from?
Yeah. Well, I think what's really cool, as we know, in every Marvel movie, everybody gets a new suit in every movie, right? Like, it's they don't have to explain a lot of them, but knowing that we've already seen the stealth / noir looking suit and this one, I think Spider-Man is gonna become like Tony Stark, a man of many suits, if you will. And I'm very interested in kind of seeing where this goes, because I this may look like Miles, but I don't know if you knew this or not, but back when Spider-Man first launched, he had it was supposed to be more red and black than red and blue.
So it could be more of an homage.
Yeah, this is more, I think, more in line with the original Spider-Man suit. It has blue, but it also has black. So like I have a pop vinyl that's red and blue, and then one with red and black lines. So I think it's more to that. But I think the most important thing here is the back of the suit looks to be something brand new to us, Mike, with the white spider logo, the white tech spider logo on the back of this suit here. It kind of feels like the Spider-Man PS4 game logo a little bit. Like they're kind of pulling in from there.
Yeah, a little bit. And I mean, like that, I feel like that Spider-Man game there's going to be some cross pollination between all of these Sony properties, because that game is knocking out of the park. I mean, I didn't give anybody else out there another Spider-Man update, but I'm still cranking through the game and I'm loving it. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool if maybe we could get like an unlockable suit maybe from the new movies when they come out. But also, I'm just kind of like scrolling through this Twitter account, the Tom Holland Source, and there's just like chock full of stuff on here. If you just want to see Spidey pouting around with a Zendaya in her black chucks, it is just all over this feed. So yeah, they are not trying to hide this at all, because it looks like some of these people are like just like 50 feet from the set. I mean, you got like Spider-Man like spinning around like on a pogo stick or something, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the suit. I mean, you can see the zipper in the back of the head on Tom Holland's suit there, like on the back of it. So like they're gonna digitalize some of this out. But I mean, I really like the webbing on it. I don't know if you can see the back of his hands. It looks like it's got like a crisscross webbing pattern on the back of his hands in some of these photos. I'm just really, I don't know, I'm digging it. And then in some lights, it looks like it's a very, very, very dark blue suit. So I don't know. I'm okay with this. I mean, does it bother you at all? I mean, I don't see any problem with the suit. No.
Nope. All of my questions coming to Spider-Man, all are going to be answered probably after the next Avengers movie.
Avengers? You mean Avengers 4? Okay, good, because that's our next topic here. Avengers 4, we don't have a title yet. It's officially wrapped principal production on the movie. Now, these are mostly reshoots. They filmed a lot of Avengers 4 last year while they were doing 3, but the Russo brothers have tweeted a very blown out blue glowy image of something here that people have been trying to tear apart all weekend long. And I can't figure out what it is, and I'm not even gonna try to stress myself out thinking about what it is. But they have wrapped on that production. But in that same regards, Chris Evans is wrapped as his roles on Captain America apparently, and has said his goodbyes online and through other sources.
I don't believe any of this at all. I truly believe that he could be wrapping on any standalone Captain America movies, even though that technically would have happened a while ago. But you don't just send a character off unceremoniously on Twitter. That's just not how it happens. And also, we haven't really had any sort of concrete game plan of what happens to these big players like Thor, Cap, and Iron Man kind of once this phase wraps up. I would imagine Chris Evans would just love to pop up in a movie in a couple of years. Just, kind of the pal around. Doesn't have to do a whole lot. Maybe spends a couple weeks on set.
He's doing those PSAs in all the Spider-Man movies for the rest of his career. Like, he's just showing up, sitting down on his chair backwards, talking to people. Mm-hmm. But, I don't think, I agree with you 100%. I don't think they're going to just be like, hey, buddy, yep, I'm done with Captain America via Twitter, so this is true kind of thing. I'm totally on board with you. This is all some sort of, I don't know, they're maybe not throwing us off, but maybe it's some sort of negotiation tactic or something like that. I don't know. We don't understand. We don't understand that. How it works.
I wouldn't think it would be wholly a misdirect, but I could see it maybe being something else.
Yeah, totally. I agree. In some leaked toy images here, Mike, I'm gonna give you this. We get to see the back of a toy package for, it just says Avengers, not a title, but Thor and Rocket Raccoon in a 2-pack of toys coming up here.
It's always through the toys. I love it. We've been doing this show for a couple of years now, and I just love the toy news. I feel like every Avengers movie has had a leak from a toy. Uh-huh. So they either just maybe have no control over this, since all of these toys and stuff are manufactured on a different part of the globe, and they have to get this stuff up and running since it's a physical item. So before the movie ever comes out, that I just don't think they can just control just like a random factory worker from whipping out a cell phone and just taking a picture. So that's why I love these toys. You can always get all this news so much quicker. But yeah, this is some shiny plastic armor. It definitely looks space. Well, I would assume space somewhere in here.
So what we're seeing here is Thor, Rocket, and a little bit of Captain America in the bottom there. They have on these white suits that are Avengers white suits, and they appear to be space suits of some kind, that I would agree with. I've done a little research, Mike, on this. That looks like Hank Pym's suit that he uses in the Quantum Realm at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, because I got my Blu-ray in for that movie 3 days early yesterday, so I've got my steelbook for that movie to reference. And there's that also in the Avengers comic books from 2012, one of our favorite series that they pulled a lot of this from. Tony builds them all spacesuits so they can go out into space to fight the aliens coming to invade Earth. Now we know Thor doesn't need a spacesuit, but he's got his big ass hammer there, and it looks like these are maybe Tony Stark inspired suits. Maybe he's made them a little bit. Yeah. They've got the glows and the lines and stuff, but. I mean, other than the fact this is very much conceptual art, this does not look like movie stills. What do you think? Would you want to see all the Avengers in some action suits? Because if you look in the upper right, that's the leaked concept art we've seen before, the promo art, and nobody's wearing them up there. This might be a special scene or some sort of adventure.
I would assume that they're not in them for very long. I mean, they kind of look all right, but honestly, it kind of just looks like a way to sell an action figure. You go down the aisle and you see a random scuba Batman or Space Force Batman, and they just throw some random armor on him or something. Yeah, that's kind of the vibes I'm getting here. But I could kind of see this as more of a device in the film of just all right, everyone put this armor on, and then just before we crank up to the final battle in the third act, everybody reveals themselves to be back in their normal costumes, and we're all hyped again because they're not wearing that dumb armor anymore. I think it kind of looks dumb, but I think it's going to look extra cheesy when they're all dressed up in it, kind of like in a weird Avengers uniform. But if I know the Russo brothers, and if we know anything about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, somebody is going to make fun of the whole group from wearing all of the same like pajamas or something. So I'm not too worried about it.
Captain Marvel does not have one on in the bottom right as well. So I mean, I don't know.
She's too cool for school.
Again,
she's going to be the coolest new character. She's got to keep up her street cred. She's not putting that stuff on.
She's going to come in there and she's not going to smile at anybody, and she's just going to, be serious about the whole thing, Mike. Gosh, I wish you would smile more. No, I'm kidding. That's all sarcasm. But no, I mean, it could be toys, it could be in the movie, but I mean, again, if I could draw any comparison, it is in fact the Quantum Realm suit from Hank Pym when he goes to get Janet out of the Quantum Realm. So just throwing that out there, whether it's true or not. I mean, I know they're filming multiple versions of this movie in scripts, so we are going to be speculating until we get our first look.
I still think all of those leaked set photos from like a year ago, I think it's all staged. I think it's all fake. So we're going to see if I'm right.
It's true. The theory right now is the new trailer will be on November 8th.
Okay, so not too far away.
Because it is on the when Nick Fury turns to dust, that's on the license plate in Avengers.
Oh, clever.
3. And if you look at all the other movies, every movie that Marvel has, we don't need a teaser anymore for a Marvel movie, Mike.
Yeah.
We are not getting a teaser for Avengers 4. We are going to get a full trailer right out the gate because there's no everyone saw Infinity War. Did you see the box office numbers? Everybody saw Infinity War. And I think there's going to be no teaser. It's going to be first full trailer, which lines up 6 months before the movie, which is October/November.
Yeah.
So,
or, I mean, there's a chance that still technically it could be called a teaser trailer, but it'll be like a full 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and it doesn't even really matter what it's called.
You want to talk about blue balls earlier. Like that would be it.
It would be crazy, though, if it did come out on 11/8 and they planned it that far ahead of time on a license plate. I think maybe it could just be sheer coincidence, possibly, because I would think like a trailer launch has to be flexible. I mean, who knows? There could be some sort of like catastrophic news event that's coming up. I think there's predictable things that could happen, so maybe you got to be dynamic a little bit. But man, I wouldn't put it past the MCU to plan something out that far, just because it's in an end credit scene, so I'm sure that's probably one of the last things to get locked before they throw it into the movie. So like, okay, we got our date, guys. Update the effects on that license plate.
We are 25 days to go until that date right now. The problem I see, this is a Thursday. I don't see them releasing trailers on a Thursday very often. So normally we get them on Tuesday mornings. So we talk about it all week.
It won't be Tuesday that week, and it won't be Wednesday because that'll be the election
days,
and the aftermath of the election.
Yeah.
So
you got a point there.
Yeah, so Thursday would be maybe the safest time during that week because I feel like you run the risk of losing a news day if you put it out on a Friday because you don't get that following up the next day where everything late comes to whatever social media platform that you're on.
Yeah.
That's a good point. If it's not that week, it might be the following week.
Yeah. But either way, it's just an idea. It's out there, and it lines up with other things, but there's no guarantee. We're always wrong about trailers. It's next week now. Watch this. Watch that happen.
Oh, it'll probably be like the week before Thanksgiving because I feel like we have had an Avengers trailer that week in November. I don't know. I don't have anything to pull from right now.
I think Infinity War was November of last year was the first trailer.
Yeah, but I feel like I remember like we were trying to figure out like, oh, are they going to put it out like during the week of Thanksgiving when people might be out on holiday? Like, oh, I think they will because they'll be able to go home and talk to it about their family. And then it was the week before that. We weren't even right then.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. That's fine. Also, lastly, Marvel is only pushing for one category for Avengers next year. They're putting all their money in Black Panther. The only category they're going for is Best Visual Effects for Avengers 4. I think. All right. I think they're going to hold it for Avengers 3. Avengers 3. 4 would be maybe something bigger. Knock on wood. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think they could definitely win the award for maybe most visual effects. But I feel like the best visual effects movies, I feel like it always is like maybe Venom. Like a groundbreaking effect or something maybe specific to the story. Like, I've never seen Benjamin Button. I don't know if it won the best visual effects category, but I could see a movie like that possibly winning just because the visual effect was integral to the plot and story of the movie.
I mean,
who knows?
But I think, what about the dusting effect at the end of Infinity War? I mean, that has,
you mean
it has penetrated pop culture and memes and everything else. Like, everyone gets that reference, though. So
yeah, that's true. And then everybody that tries to replicate it with the triangles.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Photoshop tutorial people are following, but it was not triangles in the movie.
Well, they went to the same place Fox found their Dark Phoenix tutorial from and just went from there. But yeah, it's our Avengers news. But until then, we got Captain Marvel coming in March. Very excited for this movie, Mike. I got to see the trailer. It was before Venom in theaters, so that was the first time I got to see that. So I was really excited about that. We have a new logo debut. It's not much different here. I think the particle effects are a little better around it. There's not much to take away from this.
There is one difference in this, and I don't know if it has popped up in any other Captain Marvel stuff, but the I in studios is no longer a 1. So they're not touting the 10 years of Marvel anymore, because they're after it.
Because it's 11 years.
but that is one difference. Like, how do you think they're going to sneak a 2 in here? What letter in here could possibly be a 2 in like 9 years? I don't know. maybe one of the S's. Maybe they could kind of. I think it might look a little too license platey.
Yeah,
there, but
they'll figure it out. They've got money.
Good luck, graphic design team.
Yeah,
sneaking in that too.
They figured it out. And also, there was reports that Brie Larson had signed up for a 7-movie franchise deal.
What? 7 movies?
Yeah, which is standard Marvel fare. I think 3 main, 3 regular, and 1 crossover. That's normal, right? 3 main, 3 Avengers, 1.
I feel like that's a little ambitious. I mean, I could see maybe like a 4-movie deal, and then maybe they readdress it halfway through. But 7 seems a little. They
usually, most of them pull 9. I think most of them early on were 9-movie deals. Brie Larson is denying 7 movies. I think she may have more, or maybe less. I don't know, but I think.
Wait, are you saying she denied the deal or denying that there were 7 movies?
She said like myth busted or something at the article.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it's always 7. All these news articles have 7 movies for her, and
man, that seems like a lot.
And I don't know if if they want to do 3 of her, 3 standalone Avengers, and then Avengers 4 is like her 7th one because technically she's coming in later on that deal. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but I mean, 7's not really surprising to me. It sounds like maybe other people are thinking differently, like you. But at this point, Marvel wants you for all the Avengers movies and all your solo movies as well. So
yeah, I guess it's more of just they want a commitment that you're going to be around if they want to throw you in a flick.
Yeah.
But I bet Brie Larson's just happy. She's finally getting paid. She's finally getting those bucks like Scarlett Johansson is getting them here. We're talking about in a minute, but yeah, because she was she's a Academy Award winning actress. She is accomplished on the award side of things, and now she wants to be accomplished on the gigantic mansion wallet side of things.
If you want those residuals to keep coming in, you get to Marvel, and she's set for life with these. So.
That's all you got to do, folks.
Yeah.
If you want this Marvel movie,
so easy.
Just win an Academy Award. That's all you got to do, and then they'll cast you in a movie for 7+ films, and you'll be set for the rest of your life. I mean, how is it so hard? Stop complaining about being poor. You just got to win the Academy Award. It's not that hard.
Or just get nominated, really. I mean, that's about it.
Oh, my gosh.
Doctor Strange 2 could be filming before the end of this year, Mike.
Ooh, sneaky.
Actor Benedict Wong, who plays Wong in the movies, was at a convention this weekend and hints that he will be returning to the role in December 2019. So we've always been speculating that Doctor Strange will be one of the first Phase 4 movies after Spider-Man. After his increased role and just sheer badassness in Infinity War, I think people are clamoring for more Doctor Strange, Mike. And Scott Derrickson keeps teasing Doctor Strange images on his Instagram. So I believe this is, although Marvel has not announced any post-Spider-Man movies, and Spider-Man is technically a Sony property, so that's kind of, I think, why it's out there a little bit more. I think this is going to be one of the first movies we're going to get right after Infinity War. I think we're going to revisit Doctor Strange.
I think this is going to be great. I mean, everybody loved his just badass magic in Infinity War. He kind of feels like the Sorcerer Supreme for the very first time. Yeah. His origin movie had to do a lot of like heavy lifting of like revealing magic to the MCU. It kind of felt a little copy paste from other superhero origin films, but it's finally done and out of the way, and now he can just be Doctor Strange. We're gonna do some weird magic stuff.
You don't have to explain anything anymore. Like, he can just do it, and like, yep, that's what he does, man. He's a powerful sorcerer that can do all these spells.
What would be really cool? So maybe there could be some crossover in the future of the Doctor Strange movies with the Iron Fist, with Kun Lung somehow, because there's supposed to be like there's multiple like magical cities, right? Like Kun Lung is just one of them. I don't remember the count.
Well, there's at least
like 6 or 9 of them or something.
Well, there's
like
at least 3 in Doctor Strange. The three realms that they protect. At least, so there's probably way more. We just know about the 3 in the
Doctor Strange 3. Throw in an Iron Fist cinematically. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be okay with that. We'll talk maybe about that possibility here in a minute, Mike. Black Panther 2. The big reports are that Ryan Coogler is pretty much signed a deal under the table that we don't know about yet. That he will return to write and direct the sequel to Black Panther, shooting for a 2019-2020 start date. So being another Phase 4 movie, probably in 2020, maybe 2021. There's a February slot in 2021 for Marvel right now. So, I mean, Black Panther, I think that surprised most people this year. I mean, we knew Infinity War was going to do great, but who thought that Black Panther was the little movie that could, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the news of Ryan Coogler coming back is not surprising. I think we kind of just all assumed. I think the announcement of like the 3rd movie is the one where people are really kind of wondering, because I feel like usually once the director does 2 films, you know, they've been with this character and with this movie, you know, including pre-production for a long time. Could be like nearly close to a decade of their life. And I feel like sometimes they possibly might want to move on, try other things, maybe even direct a different character in the MCU. Could be possible. So when the 3rd movie rolls around and the announcement is made, it might be a little bit more exciting. But yeah, I'm excited to see Ryan Coogler come back.
Yep, I agree, and I think, you know, again, Black Panther is a definite return. I mean, they haven't said anything. Again, they're not giving us any Phase 4 stuff, but I think to say Black Panther wouldn't come back for Phase 4 would be just wrong. Black Widow, big news here. Scarlett Johansson's getting a big pay increase here.
Ooh, yeah.
As Black Widow, reportedly gets $14 million to return as the character in her own standalone movie.
Ooh, get paid, girl.
I'm pretty sure she only got like a 7-figure salary for Avengers. Like, she has come a long way. So Marvel likes to pay their actors who stick around longer for more. So it looks like she's finally coming through in the end there. And this movie repeatedly keeps dealing with the year 1990s, the early 2000s, maybe even the Y2K virus phenomenon that never came to fruition. So maybe we can see how the Black Widow saved us all from Y2K. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So this does sound like it's going to be a prequel then.
Yeah, it's definitely a prequel before her appearance in Iron Man 2 as Tony Stark's little assistant there at the beginning. So
that might be kind of cool. I like when people were kind of talking prequel, a lot of, you know, people were saying like, oh, back in the day when she was like in Russia and stuff like that. Like, well, Scarlett Johansson can't play that age anymore. Like, no one can. So yeah. I guess maybe 2000s might make kind of sense.
Yeah. I mean, like, maybe we get to see Budapest finally, Mike. I'm just saying they throw that in Avengers. We never get to see it. So
yeah, I don't know. I always get prequel anxiety, and not just because of the Star Wars movies, just because it's just you're going back. You're not progressing the story forward. So when there's a prequel on the horizon for any character or any franchise, I'm just always thinking, this better be good. This better be a story worth telling, because more than likely I'd rather just move forward with the character and see where she is going to go, not like where she was.
What if it's a 50-50? Something she did in the year early, like 90s, 2000s is plaguing her again in the current day.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they could kind of do kind of a chronologically cut up storyline. I mean, I've seen that in movies before, and it works. So yeah, that might be kind of neat.
Yeah, especially with spy movies and, like, you know, people like, yeah, it reminds me of James Bond. Honestly, someone James Bond wronged in the past has come back to haunt him again or something like that. You know, so
Do you think they'll de-age her just for the year 2000? Like, hey, we're really good at this stuff now. We don't want to insult you and say you look old, but hey, just trust us. Put these tracking dots on your face for shooting today, and we'll scrub like 10 years off. It'll be great.
I think definitely if they have to, they will. I mean, they got Nick Fury doing it for almost a whole movie, so sign me up. We're going to shift gears into Netflix territory. Daredevil season 3 launches on Friday, Mike.
Oh man, it sneaks up on you, man. But I am happy to say I am finally up to date on all of the Netflix fare, and I'm very happy to hear some of the reports that people are saying that like Daredevil is finally back to being at his prime, not just the character but the television show, and like maybe this will breathe some life back into these Netflix shows. I don't know if it can really affect the whole Netflix universe, but I'm hearing good things.
Yeah, I have too. I don't know. We think it's 13 episodes. It
is 13 episodes. I looked this up after finishing Iron Fist because it was only 10. So I wanted to go find like an episode order. And I guess at one point it was officially announced that Daredevil and Iron Fist together was a 23 episode order. So subtract 10 from 23 and you got 13.
Okay, because I couldn't figure it out anywhere. I mean, I went looking and I didn't see it off the top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put my life on this number because you can't trust everything you read on the internet, but I'm pretty sure it's 13, which might make kind of sense when it comes to Iron Fist. Like, your first season sucked, so you're only getting 10 episodes. Good luck.
Yeah, so Daredevil season 3 is on Friday. I've heard also really good things. I mean, I've not finished Luke Cage season 2. I've not watched any of Iron Fist season 2, but Daredevil season 3 is a must-watch, Mike. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think the characters are compelling. The acting is way better to me. I mean, seeing Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin yet again is just fantastic, even in the small trailers, and the introduction of Bullseye. So
yeah, and I love Charlie Cox. He's great, man.
Oh, he's great. He for playing Matt Murdock, he's always, I don't know, he's just that pain and suffering of that character. He's always portrayed it really, really well. And I got to see how he lives after the end of the Defenders, Mike. How to get out of that hole, like in the middle of New York, so far down. So, Iron Fist. For good or bad news here, Mike. You're called. Netflix has canceled the Iron Fist series on their service after season 2. After season 2, so we get no more new Iron Fist on Netflix.
I thought it was pretty crazy how quickly that they were able to make the decision also. So it kind of maybe sheds a little bit of light on Netflix and maybe their analytics, because Iron Fist has been out for
a month,
maybe a month,
2 months maybe.
So it's pretty crazy that they can kind of just project that, like, yeah, you're not getting the views, the clicks, the plays that any of your other brothers and sisters are getting on this platform. So and I would assume that they were on thin ice already.
Yeah, I mean, even though people, I mean, you've seen, people have said they like season 2 better than 1. Again, low bar, but the official statement from them is, while the series on Netflix has ended, the immortal Iron Fist will live on.
Oh, I didn't see that official announcement.
Yeah, it was on their Twitter account. So one of their links takes them to some comic books dealing with Typhoid Mary and Iron Fist. But I mean, I think that there's a couple options here. I think Marvel wants to continue their shows. Netflix is what I hear is the side of this who canceled the show. The possible revival or continuation on the Disney streaming service is there. We've briefly discussed this via text message. This is a horrible idea. Because
I mean, I could see maybe possibly after Luke Cage, maybe season 3, if they're really trying to plan this out, maybe they just start a Hero for Hire show. I mean, then you kind of still have your Iron Fist. Yeah,
exactly. The other thing is that it says they have confirmed that Iron Fist will appear in other MCU shows still. So Finn Jones, the character, he could, or maybe just the character, maybe not Finn Jones, can still appear in Jessica Jones season 3, Luke Cage season 3 if they want to, Punisher season 2. I don't think they will. They're really hesitant to cross-pollinate these characters like that. But I just think if my problem with this show, and I've talked about it this weekend to a couple people, is this universe on Netflix started with Daredevil, right? Like that was the starting stone. Every show from then has had to shoehorn itself to fit in the Daredevil created universe. Even though it's in the MCU as a whole larger, Iron Fist doesn't feel right in Daredevil's universe to me. He needs a place where he can like be goofy and silly and not take itself so seriously and show us these damn dragons that we keep hearing about and all these other magical places, and they just take us back to the shadowy streets and corners of New York. So I don't know what's going to happen, but will another show take its place? Do you think Netflix might be suiting up another Marvel show?
I mean, what would that be? It doesn't
Moon
seem
Knight
like
is what everyone's saying, but I don't think.
I just don't know if Disney is gonna do that. I mean, I get it that they have forged their relationship in a past, but Disney said 2019 number one priority, their streaming service, which means everybody else out there is a competitor to them. I mean, obviously not Hulu because they own a part of it, but they're not going to be playing nice with Netflix in the future. I mean, they're going to be like in direct competition, and I don't think they're going to give them any ammo. Can you imagine what would happen if they let them make a Moon Knight series that ends up being amazing? Like people say, like, oh my God, this is like the Batman TV show that we'll never get, and it's so good. And maybe they were they shelled out the red carpet and all the bags of money and got some sort of crazy A-list actor like, I don't know, like Tom Cruise or something. I don't think that would be the right casting, but just somebody huge and gigantic. And then Disney's over here just sitting like, shit, we shouldn't have done that. Like, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think the corporate politics is going to stop them from developing any new
Marvel
characters.
gets to guide these shows along, though. That's the thing. Like, Netflix isn't just pulling it out of their ass on their own. Like,
yeah, and I think they're going to guide them away from anything compelling that'll compete.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, they may already have deals in place of other characters they've just not used, because Punisher wasn't announced, prior to any of these other shows. They got him on the long run, and I'm sure Disney knew they were making a streaming service, last year when the Punisher came out. Like, I think they've been thinking about it a little longer than they've been reporting on.
I mean, maybe Punisher was just kind of on the cusp, though. Maybe they're just kind of like, should we, shouldn't we? Who knows?
I think there are some smaller characters they could pull from and make a show from. And now, whether it's Moon Knight, I don't think everyone wants not everyone. There's a small niche of people who want Moon Knight. I don't think Moon Knight's a compelling enough character to get a show, but we will see in the long run.
I think Disney is just going to slowly snuff this out. I think it's just going to be like they're going to put a lid on top of the candle, and it's going to be like, let's just see how far you can go, and the only oxygen you have is just these characters. I could totally see them greenlighting, like, smaller people like Typhoid Mary in it. And I do have to say, like, if I had to give a quick review of Iron Fist season 2...
That was how I wanted to wrap this up. You got to see season 2. Do you think this cancellation was deserved?
So I'll do my best not to spoil anything. So it rebounds pretty well. Finn Jones doesn't act like a weird mystic idiot anymore. He doesn't throw out proverbs every other sentence. He acts like a normal human being. It's just him trying to make a life with Colleen Wing, and who is also another standout in the show. I mean, she was one of the things that I liked about the first season, so at least we get more of that. I love the guy who plays Grant Ward. Grant Ward is such a really awesome character, and the guy who plays him was literally my favorite part of the first season, so I love getting more of him. And they play more with that family dynamic a little bit without kind of the ridiculous corporate structure that nobody really cared about in the first season. And we get to see more of the Iron Fist. Like, he's not just pulling it out at the very last second. He's actually fighting with it a little bit. The fight choreography is better. I wouldn't say this rises to upper echelon superhero television, but I would say this is serviceable. If season 1 would have been more like this, I think they could have turned the ship around. But it's almost a little bit too late, especially in an environment where there's so much competition out there. You would think oh, really, the second season's too late? It's well, yeah, I think, halfway through the first season was probably the last place you could have possibly saved
Defenders did not help it either, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And also, Finn Jones's cameo in Luke Cage does not really fit his character in his second season. So that character is so disjointed and all over the place that it's almost like you could just kind of see it imploding in front of you. So the last kind of half of the season kind of trails off, a little bit, but I still stuck with it because characters like Typhoid Mary and Alice Eve, Alice Eve is an amazing actress, and she nails that part home. She's a really compelling character to watch on the screen because she has this duality, this split personality that she plays really well. So her character was really cool and really believable, and she was really clever the way she would fight. You know, she would go toe to toe with the Iron Fist in this show, and it was really entertaining to watch how she would kind of navigate through it. Like, she would still struggle, but she was just clever enough to outsmart Finn Jones. But man, I texted the group chat as soon as I finished the last episode, because the very last scene of season 2, I was in a state of shock because it was so stupid. I can't even fathom why they thought ending season 2 this way was the way to do it. It was not only just bizarre, it was so bizarre and so out of place that I knew it had to be connected to some sort of comic book lore. There's no way they would have brought this in unless it was attached to a pre-existing storyline. So I looked it up, and indeed it did. They did pull it from another source, but it just does not translate at all to a live-action screen. And also, they did it with the cheesiest special effects, really awful composition of the shot. It was just so weird. And then the credits roll, and you're just like, what did I just watch? That was so weird. So they're really setting up the Iron Fist going in a really bizarre direction. And man.
not that we'll ever know.
Yeah, I mean, if you are committed to not watching Iron Fist season 2, you or anybody else out there, just go to the very last scene of the second season, and it's just so bizarre and wacky, and it's just and it's honestly, it's like the very last 10 seconds. It's like almost like the last shot that they're on.
Oh, I'm well aware of this scene.
Oh, you've seen it?
Oh, yeah. There's nothing about this show that can be spoiled for me, essentially. And I'm very well aware of this. And I knew as soon as I saw it and heard about it, I'm like, I understand exactly which comic book they're pulling from. But why wait this long to pull from the comic books?
Yeah, and it's so weird. It's so out of place, and I'll leave it at that. But they leave Iron Fist, Finn Jones, in such a kind of a weird place that if they're going to interject him into other Netflix shows, they're going to have to do a lot of story heavy lifting. They're like, hey, Danny, why is all of this different? Like, I'm really trying not to spoil it, but they're going to be like, you're doing this now? This is the way you're fighting crime?
They're probably going to retcon it. He goes off at the end of every season, the character goes off on another journey somewhere. And I think they'll just resolve that off screen and then come back normal. I mean, that's the only way they can do that, Mike. There's no other way they can do that.
Yeah, I think the thing that annoys me the most is there is this huge question left to us in the first season that never gets answered. We don't even really get a hint at it, so that was kind of a bummer.
Can you tell us what that is?
No, because I feel like if you do, you'll just be thinking about it the whole time through season 2. Right. You know, just give it maybe we'll revisit these Netflix things in 2019, and then we'll just spoil all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking to gain some more free time in my personal life this winter, Mike, because it's gonna be dark. So I think I'm gonna be watching a lot more, and I usually save it all for the winter. So I will probably revisit these. Can you text me what that thing is that we don't get answered, so I don't forget? Okay, great. You do that.
I can do.
Great. All right, Iron Fist. Mike thinks season 2 is better than season 1. You heard it here. He doesn't think it's the best, but at least it rebounded in his words, and I'm really surprised to hear him say that. So kudos, Mike. Now we're going to talk about the Fox merger. Surprising news here. One of the top executives of this, I believe the Fox side, said that the merger will be done, maybe not 100%, but be mostly done by January 1st, 2019.
There you go. I wonder if that's kind of like pen and ink. Contractually, we own you now. We haven't really shifted the resources around. We don't really know who's going to be fired, who's still sticking around. The logistics aren't quite there yet, but on paper, we're responsible for you now. You're officially adopted.
Yeah, I think some of the business reports said that a lot of that stuff you just mentioned, the logistics, the transitional, actual day-to-day stuff will be the next 6 to 12 months after that. But at least all the legal ramifications will be set in place. They're like, here it is.
Imagine being like a Fox employee. You go into work the very beginning of a new year, and then you just see like these Disney suits walking around like, oh God, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't fire me, don't fire me, don't fire me.
Disney, and I don't even, I imagine it's more like Disney's already got their crew in place going and taking down all the 20th Century Fox signs in the offices, like scraping them off doors and everything, like slapping
like
mouse stickers.
yeah, they're just like, it's like just janitors in like mouse jumpsuits, like, we're just gonna scrape this off the wall.
It's they went to Disney World, got the costumes from these janitors, and like you got Winnie the Pooh in there just taking off the 20th century.
They're gonna go into the producer's office that greenlit that Fantastic Four movie. They're just gonna look at him in the face. He's gonna be like in a deep flop sweat. There's gonna be this cardboard cutout of that Fantastic Four cast like in the back of his office.
Yeah.
They're just gonna pummel it to the ground and then stuff it in a trash can and then just wheel the trash cart out of there. That'd be great.
Or like you can stay, but you have to be a Mouseketeer. Like that's the only way you get to keep working for us.
Oh man, I mean, we're making light of it, but some people will be losing their jobs, and I do feel bad for them.
The reality is, yeah, that does suck for people. But I mean, from the comic book point of view, hey, we won.
Yeah.
Anyway, what Disney is losing though is actually James Gunn, as we've talked about to ad nauseum this year. DC has officially announced James Gunn will be the writer on the next Suicide Squad film.
This was hilarious news because this was like almost a joke that everybody said when the news was that he's fired. Like, oh, how quickly until he's over at Warner Brothers? Like, ha, 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 ha.
2 months.
And then here it is. He's there. And it does make me think that it could have been the exact same day. Like, he gets fired. Executives at Warner Brothers call him up. Be like, hey, James, come on in. Let's take a talk. Let's see what you want to do.
Bring that Guardian script in. Let's change some of those characters' names, and we're going to make it Suicide Squad.
That'd be hilarious. Just a find and replace. Replace, oh, God, I can't even remember the Suicide character. Replace all instances of Captain Boomerang. With
Drax. Yeah. Groot will be Killer Croc. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I am Croc. Are you sure you want to leave that in there? Yeah, it works. It's great.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. So apparently this is going to be a fresh take on the characters and story. There had been a script from writers and possibly the other director. I don't think he's involved anymore. On this turned in. DC wants to take James Gunn and his ability to handle these ensembles very well and obviously make Suicide Squad 2.
I mean, they could have struck gold here, honestly, because James Gunn wasn't just a director making a Guardians movie. He was potentially in place to craft this entire galactic side of the MCU. I mean, this could be the guy that single-handedly kind of saves the DCEU or whatever you want to call it now. Like, if he makes a Suicide Squad movie on par with Guardians of the Galaxy, he could really be launching a universe over there that could be really fantastic.
Well, I think also, I mean, it's important to know there's a couple things here. This is not the first time DC has sniped a Marvel director. Joss Whedon did do Justice League.
Yeah, but, kind of. Well, so he was doing more patchwork.
Well, let's just take a look at it. I mean, everyone loves Avengers. Everyone loves Guardians 1. A lot of people like Avengers 2. A lot of people like Guardians 2. Not everybody. If there's also a parallel here. Now, I want to say I love James Gunn, but I don't. We just got to be. I'm gonna take this cautiously optimistic, but I think he could probably do really well with his sensibilities and his. I mean, obviously, fucked up mind that he has on these Suicide Squad characters. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm very excited for Suicide Squad again for the first time in ever. So,
yeah, and that's something I never thought I would say. And to be clear, it is only rumored that he might possibly direct. He is definitely writing it. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe it just kind of depends. He'll be like, if he's super in love with his script, and I would imagine if you're a director and a writer, if you're going through this movie, writing it out, and you're envisioning the shots and the characters, you're probably just like, yeah, I just need to direct this, you know?
I gotta look this up. Well, he doesn't know the character. I don't think he knows the characters as well as the Guardians characters, so yeah, they're not gonna let him direct it until they like his script to begin with, you know what I'm saying? So they could even put his script down. What I gotta look up here is actually, I just remembered, James Gunn wrote a movie directed by Zack Snyder in 2004, the Dawn of the Dead remake. James Gunn wrote that, and Zack Snyder directed it.
Zack Snyder, you stay far away from this movie.
Yeah, please. So I think that's funny as well. Just that little connection I just remembered. So, yeah, that's Go DC. Good on you.
Yeah,
getting him in there.
Good luck. Crossing my fingers for Aquaman.
Yeah, that's right. Also, here's a quick reminder: the director, writer Ava DuVernay is working on the New Gods movie, and she's replying to some tweets online. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot this was announced like a while ago, wasn't it?
Earlier this summer, I think.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
And that she's doing her homework. She's posting panels from the comic books and quotes from all the characters. So she's doing her homework and she's working on it still. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, anything else on that? No, pretty much.
I was just gonna say good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Something Mike kind of brought to my attention this week, because I hadn't seen this yet, is Warner Brothers is now going to offer their own streaming service, because who doesn't want their own damn streaming service these days?
Oh my gosh, here we go. We can rant a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Mainly because just the other day you told me that you canceled Netflix?
I did cancel my Netflix subscription because we haven't watched it. We watched 2 episodes of Luke Cage, but all we've been doing, we have too many choices now. Which ones do you go to? We've kind of resorted back to watching things locally, or renting them, rather than going through a streaming service, because there's so many options and we don't know where to begin.
Yeah, so if you're canceling the number one streaming service, it's hard to say that you're going to pick up something like a Warner Media streaming service. So this happens after basically the acquisition with AT&T. You now have all of these media partners under one roof. You got HBO, Warner Brothers, Cinemax, TBS, TNT, Cartoon Network, CNN.
Airport.
Yeah, CNN Airport, which
we
I didn't
did some research on this one.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly how CNN. I don't think CNN News probably factors into the streaming service, but CNN actually has some original series, like the Anthony Bourdain, his most recent travel show was a CNN show, so some of those could be in there.
What if the streaming service distinguishes itself by offering live content as well?
Maybe. I mean, this is the thing that confuses me the most. What is this streaming service? They already have a streaming service that has name recognition, has one of the number one shows on television, Game of Thrones. It's HBO. They're making content that's winning Emmys. Yeah, they're making these miniseries. They have the pedigree. So are they just going to put all of this library of content onto HBO and bolster up that name? Or are they just going to make a whole nother streaming service called Warner Streaming, and then you could also have HBO to watch Game of Thrones, but also if you have the Warner streaming service, you could watch Game of Thrones through there. If you
They're
want,
going to call it Warner Play in competition with Disney.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. To me, it's you just bolster HBO. Just I don't know how you want to signify that. I don't know if you need a giant media campaign to let people know that HBO just quadrupled its library and now you can watch all this stuff over there. But it is important to know that Warner does own a lot of content that you might not know that they own. You think, Friends is streaming on Netflix. It aired originally on NBC. NBC, is part and parcel with Hulu, but that's not their content. Friends was made by Warner. Warner Brothers. That is a Warner Brothers content. So whenever that contract expires on Netflix, it's not staying there. It's going to go to whatever the streaming service is. So they have some stuff that they can pull into their library that we just might not know about. But this was the thing that bugged me the most about all of these streaming service announcements. You got to have pedigree to make a streaming service. I don't think people are familiar enough with Warner Brothers as a catalog to subscribe to their service. Everybody knows Disney. They know what they make. They'll subscribe to the Disney streaming service. But Warner Brothers, I don't think the layperson out there knows that Warner Brothers produces all of the superhero movies. And then also the DC universe, I guess they're not going to be getting Aquaman. When it comes out digitally, is that going to be going to this streaming service? Is it going straight to HBO? So many questions. That's kind of where I'm landing right now.
I think the idea that they're only going to strictly have it on their service and not license it out for even more money, I think that's probably what we think they would do. But I think there's going to be some crossover across that board, because if Netflix has a lot of people watching it and they're going to pay you for the watches, the viewers, I'll take that money and we'll have it here too for anyone who happens to come over as an early adopter.
What is Paramount, the only studio going to be left in Hollywood that doesn't have a streaming service?
And I'm pretty sure Paramount and maybe Legendary, one of the two doesn't play nice with that Movies Anywhere app. They don't want to be a part of that either. Holds on those old ideals.
honestly, now instead I'm starting to think about it, it makes me think whatever studio is left in the lurch without a streaming service, I could honestly see Apple rolling into town, buying Paramount. Like, seriously, that could happen.
Yeah, they could. I mean, I don't know. There's too many options. I mean, I told you this before the start of the show. There are too many options, and we're back to the point where, like, I don't want to pay for every one of these because now it's more expensive than cable to watch the stuff I want to watch.
Well, yeah, because we got series out there that we want to start watching, and we got to subscribe to a new service to watch it.
Yeah, like DC Universe. And in this Titans show we're going to talk about right now. Because I watched episode 1 of Titans, Mike, right before this show.
Yeah, I want your thoughts. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. I've heard kind of reactions on both ends of the spectrum, like good and bad. Obviously, it's just a pilot, so you kind of gotta review it on its merits. But I mean, this is the risk that you take when you release a show week by week.
I really had a good time.
Wow, that is not what I've been hearing mostly.
I'd actually heard really good things. I've heard all the reviews come from the first 3 episodes because all the reviewers had the first 3 episodes. I have no idea. I have no affiliation with these characters outside of Teen Titans Go to the Movies, so I'm not as precious with them. But I'm like, yeah, I'll watch this. I will probably watch this every week, Mike. I will probably catch this whole season until, maybe if it has a really bad episode, maybe. But, like, the first one has me sold. People have been, Robin, of course, great. What's the other? Raven, her character. I think she's a main point of this series, so you're going to learn a little bit more about her. She has a lot of screen time. Then it kind of shifted gears into Starfire, and what I'm just gonna tell you, we're gonna learn a lot about that character as we go, because at face value, everyone looking at the costume and the character, like, oh, that's not Starfire. She hasn't come out as Starfire out the gate, Mike. There's gonna be a lot of evolution of this character throughout the show. So if you're worried about how she looked, take that right off the plate, because that has no effect here.
I'm surprised. Maybe we should reconvene once they make it to that episode where they do the Doom Patrol pilot, and then maybe we'll
5. I think that's 5, and then only 10 episodes.
Yeah, maybe we'll do kind of like a little concentrated review of kind of the first 2/3 of the series.
Yeah, I've also got a review here from Superfan Jim, who is a subscriber of the DC Universe. He sent me over a little review here. He said it was pretty good in his thoughts, and Robin isn't as emo as the trailers make him out to be, which I would agree with that. And it didn't really delve into the overall story yet, so I'm really interested to see how the rest of them go. I don't know. I'm actually really intrigued by the show, Mike, and I didn't think I would be going into it. So I'm very excited to see episodes 2 and 3 and see where those take.
Good luck, DC Universe. You're going to compete with Disney and apparently your very own parent company soon. Yeah. So.
Either way, I mean, it's fine. This is good with me. So hopefully, if anyone else watches this, gets their hands on it, send us a review, and maybe we'll, like I said, do a mid-season review episode or something like that. So
yeah,
we'll do that. Another show, DC, coming out, it's called The Secret Six. Are you familiar with the characters The Secret Six? Not the Sinister Six.
I have no idea what that is at all.
Okay, so apparently people who made the show Suits, Scrubs, and the show Whiskey Cavalier are attached as producers for this show Secret Six on CBS, not the streaming service. So this is a network television. And The Secret Six focuses on 6 morally ambiguous strangers who answer to a character, I believe, called Mockingbird, who they don't know who Mockingbird is. This Mockingbird, everyone on the team thinks someone in the team is this Mockingbird character giving out the orders in their missions. In the comic books, I think they've had 3 iterations. So I don't know how this is going to do it. I don't know how they're going to pull it together. Bane was in one of the iterations. I don't think we're going to see Bane or anything like that. But like, they've got some pretty prolific DC villains who are on this team.
I mean, I don't know if this is a hot take, a crazy opinion, but I just don't care.
No,
I mean, this is a property I've never heard of going to CBS. Maybe if it was on the streaming service, it might percolate me a little bit, just because they got Star Trek over there really knocking it out of the park. But I mean, another random backlot of like anti-heroes on television. I mean, I can't even keep up with what's out there, and we're trying to make a podcast where we specifically keep up with this stuff. So
this is
CBS,
the network version of Doom Patrol.
Yeah, and it's like, what happens when it's failure to launch like Supergirl? Is it just going to be ported over to the CW, and it's just going to be on like Friday nights over there or something? They're just going to fill out all 7 days on the CW. Who knows?
I forgot Titans was Berlanti Productions, by the way. I forgot that until
they
the
end. They are wealth. The wealth of superheroes at that studio is crazy.
Yeah. Either way, Secret Six, if you're a big fan of it, you can look more up. I don't know.
Who's a big fan of the Secret? Like, I'm not trying to bash this property. Maybe it's great, but like, I would be shocked if anybody who even listens to this podcast is just like, oh man, I am a Secret Six mega fan. Every issue, know all the characters like the back of my hand. This is like my announcement of like Comic-Con of the year. I wish I was there in the room when it was.
I imagine much like my Inhumans fan. Like being a fan, I imagine there are literally dozens of Secret Six fans. Maybe there's 6 of them. There's Secret Six fans of the Secret Six comic books. But yeah, I don't know. I've heard of them before. I've heard of the team, so I'm not unfamiliar. But yeah,
good luck.
Yeah, right. The last season of Gotham is coming up here. The last half of season 5, and then it's going to wrap up. And apparently the season finale will jump 10 years into the future, so they're not dealing with kid Batman at the end of it. And the Batsuit will be similar to the Dark Knight Rises because they're very worried, like, hey, your show was good, your finale was great, except your Batsuit looks sucky, kind of like a Smallville, kind of, messed up on that one. So like they're very, very conscious about how they want the Batman, the ending of this, to be remembered. So I think I will not watch this show, but I will definitely go online and look at this Batsuit image when it hits.
Gotham, the little show that could. To be honest, after I watched the pilot, I never would have thought it made it this far, but good for Gotham. I'm not watching it, but they really carved out their own section of like the Bruce Wayne lore, and they really did it. Good job, Gotham.
That's
good
right.
Job.
Yep. And now we got Krypton to worry about. How they're going to hold up? And lastly, I think we talked about this. I mean, this is a leak, but the first look at Ruby Rose in the Batwoman suit for the upcoming crossover for the CW. Looks like Batwoman.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they really nailed it here for sure. Everyone's saying that, this red hair is probably a wig that maybe is attached to the costume, so maybe her character won't actually have long red hair like that, but I think it would be cool if she did. Just put a really nice wig on her when she's not in costume. But yeah, you can see the Wayne building in the background. It makes me think, like, I wonder what city that she's in, what dimension is she in, what Earth is she on in this universe. But yeah, she looks exactly like how you would want her to look. I feel like they almost got a little bit of an advantage that I feel like usually the male Bat heroes are kind of studded with armor and plates, and usually the female characters are a little bit more streamlined, which I think works better on a TV costume budget because the costume needs to be a little bit more practical because you're going to be shooting with it all year long for seasons and seasons. So I think this lends itself really well to Ruby Rose. So yeah, this looks cool, so that's good news.
Yeah. I think from the shoulders down, it really reminds me of the Black Widow costumes in some of the Avengers movies.
Oh yeah, I could see that a little bit.
So I think they've got some good inspiration, and they've pulled out some of the best parts in here. I like the cape has the red hint of red on the hinges there, on the edges of it. Like I really enjoy that, and I've always imagined Batwoman, her red hair being fake anyway, because then you would figure out every redheaded woman in the city might be Batwoman, so I could totally see that being a wig just to throw people off, because if she's got the short hair in the show like she does in real life, and then I don't know, it's just you wouldn't think of someone with short hair having a red wig on. I don't know.
I'm getting a Val Kilmer Batman Forever vibes with the cowl.
Yeah.
Kind of with like the expression. I mean, she looks mean. She looks like she's going to kill you.
That is Batman Forever mask to a T. You have nailed that. You have nailed that point. So.
Yeah, it was funny. Like it's not like I'm an expert on cowls, but I was just staring at it and I was like, where have I seen that before?
Yeah, you're totally not wrong. So. We don't know much about it, but the show's coming up, I think, November? So next month. So
the crossover, baby.
Yep. We'll be there to check that out. That's our news for this week, Mike. We got to go talk about Venom on the side. So let's tell everybody where they can find you at, so they can follow you and see what you're up to.
Well, if you want to check out my Paddington hot takes, you can find me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, where can people follow you, man?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, VALDAN. You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, or you can have Comic UI. That's really about it. You can listen to me every week on the Superhero Slate. If people want to hear more about what we're doing, or this review episode for Venom, where can they find that at?
Well, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues we host our little show and to get our awesome show notes. So if you want to get that link to that really weird fan page for Tom Holland on Twitter with all those shots, what was it called? Like Tom Holland tracking or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah,
it's in our show notes.
Tom Holland source.
The source for all Tom Holland. He's in our show notes. We talked about some other screenshots and some things like that. So if you don't want to track those down on the internet, just hit up superheroslate.com and click on the episode, and we got those show notes there for you. Actually, practically speaking, I know we're trying to wrap this up pretty quickly, but those show notes actually helped me out because I missed last week. And I was like, yeah, what did go on? I didn't want to hunt down all these different articles with like images that have to load and click on all these things and scroll down through ad blockers. And all I had to do was go to last week's show notes, like in this awesome bolded list. It was almost like reading somebody's notes from class. Like it's like I didn't even have to go to class at all. It's great. So there's an awesome practical use for those notes if you happen to miss the podcast. But you can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and on Instagram, and you can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. If you're a fan of the show, we love hearing from you. Reach out on YouTube, send us a tweet, send us a direct email on our website. We love hearing from you. We want to know what you're thinking. We love interacting with you. And if you want to be a super fan of the show, if you want to join the super fan cult that I'm creating, that we will all jump into a fiery volcano one day, the only way you're going to get that Evite is if you become a super fan, and you got to do that by sharing the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and rest in peace.
Yeah, that one too. Anyway, off to Venom, Mike. We'll see you guys later.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Trickle down Medianomics. That's what we're going to call it.
Today's episode title, sure to get lots of clicks.